Bringing the concept to life early in the design stage through product rendering and animation can help accelerate sales and marketing initiatives. Let's see how Visualize 2022 make it easier than ever to generate professional outputs for any user. Hdri environments have long been supported in Visualize. These 3D assets not only apply a background image, but also include some scene lighting. This lakeside environment have the perfect sunlight source, but the background image will need to be replaced with something that's more targeted to a potential commercial audience. Since 2D stock images are easily accessible and come in all shapes and sizes, this can add the perfect touch to any rendering, but traditionally requires a trial and error process to align the model perspective to that of the background image itself. Visualize 2022 simplifies this process dramatically with a new match camera capability. Using the two-point perspective of the horizon and the ship structure, along with the ship's walkway, the camera's focal length is calculated and applied to the 3D geometry. This builds additional photorealism into the project by seamlessly integrating the 2D image and the 3D model. The next step is to make sure the location of the light source in the 3D environment aligns with the light source in the background image. Rotating the previously added Hdri environment and watching for the Nemo shadows to align with the shadow on the decking is easy. Unfortunately, the shadows casted off the Nemo seems to bleed through the ship's wall. This is no longer a problem in Visualize 2022. Primitive geometry can come in handy for multiple scenarios, and in this case, the wall primitive brings a vertical plane which can be positioned and scaled to replicate the wall location seen in the image. New in Visualize 2022 is the ability to convert this geometry to a shadow catcher, which leaves the shadow exposed while removing the primitive geometry given the exact level of detail it needed to this rendering. For the next image, capturing the Nemo in its natural habitat is a must. Leveraging configuration and additional cameras in Visualize is an easy way to keep your rendering in a single project. For an underwater shot, updating the Hdri environment and the background image from the library asset is just a simple drag and drop. As we saw before, it is important to replicate the scene lighting as close as possible. This time, an additional area light is added by switching to the top view and using the Add to Match camera to create the light source. At any point, you can switch between live rendering or preview mode, which is an easy way to manage system performance when you're setting up your project, such as adding and positioning additional 3D assets. For this image, including a blue line snapper adds a nice touch. But what about a school of fish? Previous version of Visualize had the ability to create model formations but required 2 or more instances. New in Visualize 2022, patterns can now be created from a single instance. And with the scatter feature, randomizing these fish by defining the number of instances along with the bounding box parameters make this process a snap. For the final rendering, a third configuration is created to capture an exploded animation of the Nemo. With the timeline enabled, the groups are selected and keyframed to define their start and end position. Going through this process of keyframing multiple parts and groups can quickly clutter the timeline. Now, in Visualize 2022, items added to the animation timeline can be nicely organized into folders using the group options. The animation ribbon can be color-coded, making it easy to find and reposition these keyframes right into the perfect place. Now, a single camera can capture the action, but multiple cameras really bring a professional touch. You can easily repeat the process of introducing additional cameras and keyframes to your animation with just a few clicks. Moving ahead, you can see 3 cameras have been created. Visualize 2022 offers a much more direct approach to allow camera switching from one camera to the next. By creating a group on the timeline, you are able to keyframe which camera you like to have active and when, skipping the need to create additional edits in a third-party editing application. As progress moves along and each rendering finishes up, Visualize 2022 offers a new updated output view to keep your project even more organized. Render settings can be reviewed and projects can be cancelled or re-rendered as needed. And best of all project outputs are referenced in the final deliverables, which can be opened up directly from the output view. Year over year, SOLIDWORKS Visualize takes advantage of the latest rendering technology and simplifies it for every user. Creating the world-class sales and marketing collateral like we see here with the Nemo has never been easier.